Hello, friend. Welcome to Science for Sleep. Whether you are returning tonight or discovering this quiet place for the first time, this is a calm corner where the day can soften, your thoughts can slow, and something gentle can be learned without hurry. Tonight, we are going to follow one of the smallest lights in the natural world, the firefly, a tiny living lantern that appears close to the ground, often over grass, shrubs, gardens, marsh edges, and dark forest paths. For many people, fireflies belong to warm summer nights. They appear after sunset, when the sky has turned deep blue and the first stars are beginning to show. One moment, the field is still. Then, a small greenish-yellow flash appears near the grass. A few seconds later, another one answers from farther away. Then another. Soon the darkness is quietly dotted with moving lights. It can feel almost dreamlike, but the glow is very real. A firefly is not carrying a spark. It is not making fire. It is not burning like a candle or heating a wire like an old light bulb. Its light is made inside its own body through a chemical reaction controlled by living cells. That is what makes the sight so strange and peaceful at the same time. The glow looks simple from a distance, but inside that tiny insect, oxygen, energy, and special light-making chemicals are working with remarkable care. If you enjoy these quiet journeys, you're welcome to subscribe. And if it feels natural, to leave a comment sharing where you're listening from tonight. It helps others find their way to this calm corner of the world, one sleepy traveler at a time. The quiet continues here, just as it is. Fireflies are part of a larger group of animals that can make their own light. This ability is called bioluminescence. The word simply means living light. It appears in many places on Earth, though often far from ordinary human life. Deep in the ocean, some fish and squid shine in blue and green flashes. Certain fungi glow faintly on damp wood. Some tiny plankton can make waves sparkle when water moves at night. But fireflies bring this strange ability into places that feel familiar. Backyards, meadows, old farm fields, paths beside trees, places where a person might stand quietly in the evening and watch the dark begin to breathe with light. Most firefly flashes are yellow-green or yellow-green because those colors travel well through plants and humid night air. The color is soft enough to feel gentle, but bright enough for another firefly to notice. That matters because the flash is not only beautiful, it is a signal. In many species, fireflies use light to find one another. A male may fly low over the grass, sending out a short flash. A female may wait on a leaf or stem and answer with her own glow after a careful delay. To our eyes, it may look like random blinking. To a firefly, those flashes can carry information. Where the other insect is, what species it belongs to, whether it is close enough to approach. A summer field filled with fireflies is not just a pretty scene. It is a quiet conversation written in pulses of light. And the conversation is ancient. Fireflies belong to the beetle family Lampyridae, a group with more than 2,000 known species around the world. Some flash in the air, some glow from the ground. Some adults barely shine at all, and some spend most of their lives hidden as larvae in damp soil and leaf litter before the brief adult season begins. That is part of what makes their light feel so delicate. The glowing adult firefly may only be visible for a short part of its life. A few warm nights, a few careful signals, a few small chances to be seen. Yet in those flashes, there is chemistry, timing, courtship, survival, and the long history of insects adapting to darkness. A firefly turns the night into something readable. It makes the dark feel less empty, not because the darkness has gone away, but because a tiny life has found a way to speak through it. And as those first small lights rise from the grass, one quiet question remains. How can a body so small hold a lantern inside itself? That small lantern in the grass belongs to an animal more grounded and more ordinary than it first appears. A firefly is not truly a fly. It is a beetle. True flies, like houseflies and mosquitoes, belong to a different insect group and have only one main pair of wings. Fireflies belong to the beetle order, called Coleoptera, and to the family Lampyridae. Coleoptera means sheath wing, a name that points to one of the most important beetle traits. Many beetles have hardened front wings called elytra. These act like small protective covers over the softer flying wings, folded underneath. On some beetles, these wing covers are thick and glossy, like armor. On fireflies, they are often softer and more flexible, giving the insect a gentler shape. Even so, the body plan is still the body plan of a beetle. A firefly has 6 legs, a head with antennae, a middle body section called the thorax, where the legs and wings attach, and an abdomen, the longer back part of the body where the famous glow is usually made. Seen up close, a firefly does not look like a floating spark. It looks like a small, practical insect built for climbing stems, resting on leaves, folding its wings, and moving through damp summer plants. Some fireflies are only about 5 millimeters long, smaller than a grain of rice. Others can be over 2 centimeters long, closer to the length of a small paperclip. Many are brown, black, or dull yellow in daylight, with markings that help them blend into bark, soil, and dry leaves. The glow is what draws human attention, but the insect itself is shaped by the same needs as any other small creature. It has to avoid predators, find food, find shelter, find a mate, and survive long enough for the next generation to begin. Like other beetles, fireflies pass through a complete life cycle. They do not hatch as tiny copies of the adults. They begin as eggs, usually laid in moist soil, moss, rotting wood, or leaf litter. After the eggs hatch, the young fireflies emerge as larvae. A larva is the growing stage of an insect before it becomes an adult. Firefly larvae often look nothing like the glowing adults that drift through summer air. They may be flat, dark, segmented, and low to the ground, almost like tiny armored crawlers moving through the hidden layer of the soil. Some larvae glow faintly, which is why people sometimes call them glowworms. This young stage can last much longer than the adult stage. In many species, the larva may live for months, and sometimes more than a year, feeding and growing slowly through damp nights and cool seasons. Then comes the pupa. During the pupal stage, the insect is quiet on the outside, but inside, its body is being rebuilt. The crawling larva changes into the winged adult form. Legs, eyes, wings, reproductive organs, and the adult body shape develop through a deep transformation. This kind of change is called metamorphosis. It is the same broad process seen in butterflies, though the firefly belongs to a very different insect group. When the adult finally emerges, its life may be brief. For some species, the glowing adult period may last only a few weeks. The adult body is not just made for beauty, it is made for a task: to move through the night, send signals, recognize signals, and continue the life cycle. That makes the glow feel even more delicate. It is carried by an insect that spent much of its life unseen, close to the ground, in soil and leaves. By the time it rises into the warm air, its body has already passed through several hidden forms. The light is not separate from that history. It belongs to a beetle with wing covers, joints, antennae, breathing tubes, muscles, nerves, and a soft abdomen built to hold the machinery of the flash. So when a firefly blinks over a lawn or forest path, it is not just a dot of light. It is a whole animal briefly revealing itself. A beetle made visible by the part of its body that shines, and the glow that seems to float freely in the dark is anchored in one small place beneath the insect, waiting to be understood. That small place beneath the insect is where the firefly becomes most unusual. On many adult fireflies, the light comes from the lower part of the abdomen. It is usually on the underside, near the last few body segments, where the insect's body narrows toward the end. If a firefly is resting on a leaf, this glowing part may be hidden from above. But from underneath, or from the side, the lantern can appear as a pale yellow or cream-colored patch before it shines. It is not a loose spark inside the body. It is an organ, a real piece of living anatomy, made from cells, tissues, air tubes, nerves, and reflective layers. In many fireflies, this light organ sits behind a thin outer covering called the cuticle. The cuticle is the insect's outer skin. In most parts of the body, it protects the insect like a flexible shell. But over the lantern, it can be thin and partly transparent, allowing the glow to pass through into the night. Inside the lantern are specialized cells, often called photocytes. The word photocyte simply means light cell. These are the cells where the light-making reaction takes place. They are arranged in a careful layer, not scattered randomly through the whole body. That is why the glow appears from one clear region instead of shining from every leg, wing, or antenna. Behind those light-producing cells, many fireflies have a pale reflecting layer. This layer can contain tiny crystals of uric acid, the same waste material many insects naturally produce. In the lantern, those pale crystals help bounce light outward. Instead of letting the glow disappear deeper into the abdomen, the reflector sends more of it through the clear outer surface. The result is a tiny biological lamp with its own light source and its own backing mirror. It is not built from glass, metal, or wire. It is built from living tissue. A firefly's lantern is also connected to the insect's breathing system. Insects do not breathe with lungs the way humans do. they take in air through small openings along the body called spiracles. From there, oxygen moves through branching tubes called tracheae. These tubes carry air directly to tissues, including the cells inside the firefly lantern. That detail matters because oxygen is one of the key ingredients needed to make the light. Without oxygen reaching the lantern, the chemical reaction cannot shine in the same way. So the firefly's glow depends on a quiet delivery system running through the body. Tiny openings along the sides, fine tubes inside, special cells waiting in the abdomen, a pale reflector behind them, and a thin window where the light can escape. Seen this way, the firefly is not just carrying a light. It is shaped around the ability to reveal that light at the right moment. The rest of the insect remains dark and practical. The legs grip stems. The antennae sense the air. The wings fold under their covers when the insect lands. But the lower abdomen holds something different, a soft built-in signal that can appear and disappear with remarkable control. In some species, the lantern is larger in males. In others, wingless females or larvae may glow from different body regions. There is no single firefly shape that fits every species. The family Lampyridae includes more than 2,000 known species, spread across many parts of the world, and their light organs vary with their way of life. Some adults flash while flying through open air. Some glow from grass or soil. Some larvae shine faintly as they move through damp leaf litter. Still, the basic wonder remains the same. A living body has made room for light, not as decoration only, but as a working part of survival. And because the lantern is built inside soft tissue, the glow feels even stranger than a candle or a bulb. A candle burns wax. An old bulb heats a wire until it glows. A firefly rests on a blade of grass and shines from cells no wider than a tiny patch beneath its body. The light is close to the insect's organs, muscles, and nerves. It is produced inside a small living abdomen that cannot afford to waste much energy or overheat. For the lantern to work, it must shine without turning the firefly into a furnace. The glow leaves the body gently, cool, greenish yellow, brief, and behind that peaceful flash is a deeper kind of precision, because this lamp is alive, and somehow it shines without burning itself away. The firefly's lantern shines in a way that feels almost impossible, because it does not behave like the lights people usually know. A candle gives light by burning. The flame eats through wax and oxygen, and most of its energy escapes as heat. Hold a hand too close, and the warmth is felt before the brightness is studied. An old incandescent bulb works in a different way, but it still depends on heat. Inside the glass bulb, a thin metal wire is heated until it glows. That wire can reach temperatures of more than 2,000 degrees Celsius. The bulb gives off light, but much of the energy is wasted as warmth, which is why old bulbs become hot to the touch. A firefly does something far gentler. Its abdomen glows without a flame. There is no red-hot wire. There is no smoke, ash, or burning fuel. The light appears from living tissue that stays cool enough for the insect to keep moving, flying, and resting, as if nothing dangerous is happening inside it. That is why firefly light is often called cold light. It is not perfectly cold in the deepest physical sense, because all living processes involve some energy moving through the body. But compared with a candle, a campfire, or an old light bulb, the firefly wastes very little energy as heat. Most of the energy in the reaction is released as visible light. That makes the firefly's glow one of nature's most efficient forms of lighting. Efficiency simply means how much useful output comes from the energy being used. With a candle, the useful light is only a small part of the total energy. Much of the rest escapes as heat. With a firefly, far more of the energy becomes the soft yellow-green light that can be seen across the grass. The insect cannot afford to waste energy the way a human-made lamp can. Its body is tiny. Its fuel comes from food gathered during its life. Its lantern sits near delicate tissues, breathing tubes, nerves, and muscles. If the glow produced strong heat, it could damage the very cells that make it possible. So the firefly's light had to evolve in a quieter direction. It had to be bright enough to signal, soft enough to protect the body, and efficient enough to use again and again through the night. This is part of what makes a summer firefly field so different from a row of porch lights. A porch light pushes electricity through wires and bulbs. A street light glows because power has been sent through a human-built system of cables, poles, and circuits. But the firefly carries its own little power system inside a body only a few millimeters or centimeters long. The glow is made in a small patch beneath the abdomen, and each flash is produced with careful timing. From far away, it looks effortless. A blink, a pause, another blink. But inside the lantern, molecules are being rearranged, oxygen is being delivered, and energy is being turned into light instead of heat. The color matters too. Many fireflies glow in shades of yellow, green, or yellow-green, often around the range that travels well through evening vegetation. Greenish light can stand out against leaves, stems, and dark soil. It can be seen by another firefly waiting a few feet away, or sometimes farther, depending on the species and the darkness of the night. The light does not need to flood the whole field. It only needs to be clear enough to be noticed by the right receiver. That is why the glow can remain small and still be useful. It is not trying to light a room. It is trying to carry a message. A candle shines in every direction until it burns down. A bulb stays on until the switch is turned off. A firefly gives only what it needs. One measured pulse, then darkness, then another pulse. The restraint is part of the design. Each flash saves energy, protects the insect, and keeps the signal sharp against the night. The firefly's glow feels peaceful because it is not forceful. It does not blaze. It does not roar. It does not spread heat into the air. It appears for a moment, then folds back into darkness, leaving the grass and leaves just as cool as before. And because the light is not made by fire, something more precise must be happening inside the lantern. A quiet chemical event, small enough to fit inside an insect, yet exact enough to turn life's stored energy into visible light. Inside the firefly's lantern, the glow begins with a molecule called luciferin. Luciferin is the light-making fuel. It does not shine by itself in the open air. It needs the right partners in the right place under the right conditions. One of those partners is an enzyme called luciferase. An enzyme is a protein that helps a chemical reaction happen more easily, It is not used up in the same way fuel is used up. Instead, it acts more like a tiny worker inside the cell, helping the pieces meet and change. In a firefly, luciferase helps luciferin react with oxygen. Oxygen is the same gas humans breathe from the air. But in the firefly's body, oxygen does not travel through lungs or blood the way it does in a person. It moves through the insect's branching air tubes and reaches the lantern cells directly. There is one more important ingredient: cellular energy. Inside living cells, energy is often carried by a molecule called ATP. It's like a tiny energy packet used by almost every living thing. Muscles use it, nerves use it, growing cells use it, and inside the firefly lantern, ATP helps prepare luciferin for the light-making reaction. So the glow depends on a careful group of ingredients: luciferin, luciferase, oxygen, ATP, a small lantern organ, and living cells arranged to let the light escape. When these pieces come together, luciferin changes into a new form. During that change, part of the molecule becomes excited. In science, excited does not mean emotional. It means the molecule has extra energy for a brief moment. That extra energy cannot stay there for long, so the molecule releases it. In a firefly, much of that released energy comes out as visible light, a soft yellow-green flash. Not heat, not smoke, not a spark, just energy leaving a molecule as light. The color can vary between species. Some fireflies glow more yellow, some appear greener. A few can seem closer to orange. Small changes in the lantern's chemistry, the shape of luciferase, and the acidity inside the cell can affect the color that appears. This is why the firefly's glow is not just a simple on and off bulb. It is a living chemical system. The shape of the enzyme matters. The amount of oxygen matters. The condition of the cell matters. Even tiny changes inside the lantern can shift how the flash looks. The reaction is also remarkably useful to humans. Scientists have studied firefly luciferase for decades because it gives such a clear signal. In laboratories, luciferase can be used as a marker to show whether certain genes are active or whether cells are alive and using energy. When the reaction glows, researchers know something is happening inside the sample. In a quiet way, the firefly's summer lantern has helped modern science see things too small for human eyes. But in the firefly itself, this chemistry is not there for microscopes or experiments. It is there for life in the dark. A male moving above the grass needs his flash to appear at the right time. A female waiting on a leaf needs to see and answer. A larva glowing close to damp soil may be warning a predator to stay away. The chemistry serves the body. The body serves the signal. The signal reaches into the night. The beauty of luciferin and luciferase is that they make the glow feel both simple and exact. From a distance, there is only a blink over the lawn. Inside, there is a chain of events small enough to happen inside cells, but ordered enough to be repeated again and again. A molecule is prepared. Oxygen arrives. Energy is used. A new form appears. Light is released. Then the flash fades. The ingredients explain how a firefly can make light without flame. They show why the glow can be cool, clean, and efficient. But the firefly does not shine constantly like a lamp left on beside a bed. It waits. It pauses. It flashes. Then it disappears back into the dark. Somehow, this chemical reaction is not only made, it is timed. The firefly's lantern does not glow by accident. It is controlled. The same tiny organ that can make light also has to decide when that light appears, how long it lasts, and when it fades away again. That is what turns the firefly's glow from a simple chemical reaction into something far more useful. A steady glow would be easier to understand. The insect could shine like a small lamp and stay visible all night. But most flashing fireflies do something more careful than that. They make short pulses, a blink, a pause, a blink again. Some flashes last less than a second. Others linger a little longer, depending on the species. This timing is not random. Inside the firefly, the lantern is connected to the nervous system. The nervous system is the body's message network. It carries signals between the brain, nerves, muscles, and organs. When the firefly is ready to flash, nerve signals help trigger changes inside the light organ. Those signals help control the arrival of oxygen. Oxygen matters because the light-making reaction cannot happen properly without it. Luciferin, luciferase, and cellular energy are already part of the lantern's chemistry. But oxygen is like the final breath that lets the glow appear. Insects move oxygen through small body openings called spiracles and through branching tubes called tracheae. These tubes reach deep into the body, carrying air close to the cells. In the firefly's lantern, oxygen must reach the photocytes, the light-making cells. When enough oxygen is available in the right place, the reaction can shine. When oxygen is limited, the glow fades. For many years, scientists wondered how fireflies could flash so quickly if oxygen had to move through tiny tubes first. A firefly can blink on and off much faster than a slow breath would seem to allow. Part of the answer may involve a gas called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a simple molecule made of nitrogen and oxygen. In living bodies, it can act like a signal. In fireflies, it appears to help control how oxygen is used inside the lantern. Normally, small structures inside cells, called mitochondria, use oxygen to help make energy. Mitochondria are sometimes described as the power stations of the cell. But when a flash is needed, nitric oxide can briefly affect how mitochondria use oxygen. This may leave more oxygen available for the light-producing reaction. The effect is brief. The oxygen reaches the reaction. The lantern brightens. Then the balance shifts again, and the flash disappears. This gives the firefly a way to make light in pulses rather than as one continuous glow. It is a quiet form of control, happening in a body light enough to rest on a blade of grass. No switch is visible from the outside. No wire is being touched. Yet the result looks almost like a tiny signal lamp being turned on and off in the dark. The timing can be very precise. In some species, males flash while flying, and the pattern may repeat again and again with a steady gap between pulses. A firefly may flash every few seconds, then drift through the air, then flash again from a slightly different place. The darkness between flashes matters as much as the flash itself. Without the pause, there would be no pattern. Without the pattern, the light would lose much of its meaning. This is different from a porch light glowing beside a doorway. A porch light is meant to stay on. It fills a space. It makes steps and railings easier to see. A firefly's flash is not meant to light the ground. It is meant to be noticed. It is small, brief, and placed carefully in time. That is why the darkness is part of the message. The insect shines, then vanishes. Shines, then vanishes. Each pulse leaves a tiny mark in the night, just long enough for another firefly to see it. The body has taken chemistry and given it rhythm. It has taken light and shaped it into timing. And once a living thing can control when its light appears, the glow is no longer just brightness. It begins to behave like a message, waiting for another lantern to answer. That waiting answer is what turns a firefly's glow into a kind of language. Not a language of words, not a language of voices. A language made from light, distance, timing, and darkness. For many adult fireflies, the main purpose of flashing is to find a mate. The signal is not meant for human eyes, even though people love to watch it. It is meant for another firefly of the same species, watching from somewhere nearby. Often, the male is the one moving through the air. He flies low over grass, shrubs, and open patches, sending out flashes as he searches. The female may be much harder to see. In many flashing species, she waits on a leaf, blade of grass, fern, or low stem, staying still while the males drift past. Instead of flying through the whole field, she watches. When the right flash appears, she answers with her own light. Sometimes that answer comes from only a few inches above the soil. Sometimes it comes from a low branch or a tall weed. To a person standing nearby, it may look like a tiny spark has appeared in the grass. But to the male firefly, that small answering glow can be the signal he has been searching for. This is why the pauses matter. A male flash by itself is only half of the exchange. A female answer gives it meaning. In some species, the female does not flash immediately. She waits a specific amount of time before replying. That delay can be part of the signal. It helps the male recognize that the answer came from the right kind of firefly. A reply that is too early, too late, too bright, too dim, or the wrong color may not lead him closer. The night may be full of lights, but only some of them belong to the right conversation. The common eastern firefly, Photinus pyralis, is one of the best-known examples in North America. It is sometimes called the Big Dipper firefly because the male often flies in a rising, dipping path while making a yellow flash. The path can look like a tiny letter J drawn in the air. A female watching from vegetation can answer after the male's flash, and that delay helps guide him toward her position. From a distance, this may look like scattered blinking. Up close, it is closer to a slow, quiet search pattern. A light moves, a light waits, a light answers. Then the flying male changes direction. Fireflies are well suited for this kind of nighttime signaling because their eyes are built to notice light in dim conditions. Many adult fireflies have large compound eyes. A compound eye is made of many tiny units, each taking in a small part of the scene. Together, These units help the insect detect flashes, movement, and direction. The firefly does not need to see the world the way a human does. It needs to notice a brief glow in the right place at the right time. The darkness around the signal is just as important as the signal itself. If the whole field were bright, a small flash would be harder to pick out. But in natural darkness, the firefly's glow stands apart. The black spaces between pulses make each flash clearer. The quiet gaps become part of the rhythm. This is why the exchange feels so peaceful to watch. Nothing loud is happening. No call rises into the air. No wing beat needs to be heard. The fireflies speak in a way that leaves the night almost untouched. A male floating above the grass sends a small pulse from his abdomen. A female hidden below answers from her stem. For a moment, the field becomes a place of call and response without sound. Yet this light language has to be exact enough to work among many insects at once. A summer meadow may contain more than one firefly species. Different males may be crossing the same patch of air. Different females may be watching from different plants. The glow has to do more than appear. It has to appear in the right pattern, with the right pause, and with the right kind of brightness. A single flash may catch attention, but timing is what begins to turn attention into recognition. Recognition depends on more than seeing a glow. A firefly must notice the right glow. In a summer field, several species may be active on the same night. Some may fly just above the grass. Some may move near shrubs. Some may stay close to the edge of trees, where the air is cooler, and the leaves hold moisture. To human eyes, the flashes can blur together into one soft display. But to the fireflies, the night is divided into patterns. Each species has its own way of speaking with light. One may give a single short flash. Another may give two flashes close together. Another may glow for a longer moment, then wait through a longer patch of darkness. Some fly while flashing. Some remain still. Some flash low near the soil. Some signal higher in bushes or tree branches. The code is not made from only one feature. It can include the flash length, the pause between flashes, the color of the light, the height of the insect, the path of the flight, and the time of night when the signal appears. One firefly may shine greenish yellow. Another may seem more amber. One pattern may repeat every few seconds. Another may happen in a slower rhythm. The difference can be small, but for the insects, small differences matter. A male searching for a mate cannot simply fly toward every light he sees. If he follows the wrong signal, he may waste energy. He may lose time. He may approach the wrong species. In some cases, he may even fly into danger. So the flash pattern acts like a filter. It helps each firefly sort the living lights around it. The common eastern firefly, Photinus perennis, gives one kind of signal. Other fireflies in the genus Photinus can use different timing, different flash shapes, or different delays between male and female signals. Fireflies in other groups, such as Photuris and Paractomena, can look and signal differently again. Even when they share a meadow, they are not all saying the same thing. They are using nearby darkness in separate ways. This is one reason firefly watching can become surprisingly detailed. a person who stands quietly in the same place for several minutes may begin to notice differences. Some lights make quick dots. Some draw a tiny moving streak. Some pulse once and disappear. Some answer from the grass after a delay. The field that first seemed random begins to show order. The lights are not scattered decorations. They are signals moving through a living crowd. The timing is especially important because darkness gives the flash its shape. A flash without a pause would become a glow. A glow without timing would be harder to recognize. The empty space between flashes is like the empty space between notes in a slow piece of music. It lets the pattern breathe. It makes one signal different from another. And because many fireflies are active only during a short adult season, often lasting just a few weeks, this recognition has to work efficiently. The adult firefly does not have endless time. Its body has emerged from the soil, formed wings, developed its lantern, and entered the brief part of life when finding the right mate matters most. The wrong flash is not just a mistake in communication. It is a missed chance in a short season. The whole system depends on enough darkness, enough distance, and enough accuracy for the right lights to find each other. It also depends on the firefly's own body, being tuned to the pattern of its species. The eyes must detect the glow. The nervous system must measure the pause. The lantern must answer with the right timing. All of this happens in small bodies moving through warm, humid air, over stems and leaves still holding the heat of the day. This is why a firefly's flash can feel both delicate and exact. It is soft enough to seem peaceful, but it is precise enough to guide life. In that quiet field, each pulse belongs to a specific kind of insect, at a specific moment, looking for a specific answer. And when the right answer comes from the grass, the light is no longer only seen, it is understood. And that understanding happens in the quiet space between two lights. A male firefly sends his signal while moving through the air. A female firefly may answer from a place that barely moves at all. She may be resting on a blade of grass, the edge of a leaf, a fern stem, or a low branch near the damp ground. To human eyes, the male is often easier to notice because he is moving. His flash crosses the dark like a tiny lamp carried through the air. The female's answer may be smaller and lower. It may appear only once close to the soil, like a hidden ember opening for a moment and then closing again. In many species, this exchange is carefully timed. The male flashes first, then the female waits. That waiting period can last only a few seconds, but those seconds matter. For the common eastern firefly, Photinus pyralis, the male often gives a yellow rising flash while flying in a dipping path. The female may answer after a short delay, often around 2 seconds later, from her place in the vegetation. That delay helps the male know that the reply belongs to the right kind of firefly. It is not only the glow he follows, it is the glow after the proper pause. The whole scene is small, but it is very exact. A male may pass over the grass, flashing as he moves. Below him, several leaves may shift in the night air. A female waits among them, not calling with sound, not flying upward, not chasing. She answers by turning on a tiny lantern in her own body. The male sees the reply and adjusts his path. He may circle lower. He may flash again. She may answer again. With each exchange, the two lights become less random to each other. The distance closes. A field full of blinking insects becomes, for one pair, a narrow path of recognition. The male's flight is guided by vision. Adult fireflies often have large compound eyes, made from many small visual units. These eyes are useful for detecting brief light changes in darkness. The female's position is marked by a flash that may be only a small point in the grass, but against a dark background, a point of light can be powerful. It gives direction. It gives timing. It gives enough information for the flying male to move closer. The darkness helps make this possible. A dark meadow acts almost like a blank page. Each flash appears clearly because there is space around it. If the background were crowded with steady light, the signal would be harder to see. But in natural night, the female's small answer can stand out from the grass like a quiet mark, placed exactly where it needs to be. This is one reason the exchange feels so calm to watch. There is no rushing sound, no large movement, no bright display that fills the whole field. Only a moving flash above the plants and a waiting flash below. A light asking, a light answering. The pauses keep everything gentle. Yet for the insects, the exchange has real consequence. The adult firefly season can be brief. In some species, adults may live only a few weeks. Some adults eat little or not at all, using stored energy from their larval life. Their time above the grass is focused on reproduction. Finding the right signal is not decoration. It is the way the life cycle continues. That makes the female's answer both simple and important. A tiny flash from a leaf can guide a male through a dark space much larger than his body. It can bring together two insects that might otherwise pass each other unseen. It can turn a patch of weeds, soil, and stems into a meeting place shaped by light. The trust inside this system is delicate. The male flashes because the right female may answer. The female answers because the right male may approach. The signal works because each flash pattern carries a meaning that both insects are built to recognize. But in nature, useful signals rarely remain untouched. A pattern that can guide a mate can also guide something else. A trusted answer can be copied. And in the same grass where one firefly waits to be found, another kind of firefly may be watching the code with a very different purpose. In the same quiet grass, not every answering light is honest. Some fireflies do more than send their own signal. They listen to the signals of others. Then they copy them. One of the best-known groups is called Fireflies. These fireflies are sometimes nicknamed femme fatale fireflies because some females can imitate the flash replies of other species. The name sounds dramatic, but the behavior itself is a careful part of survival. A female Firefly may sit low in the vegetation, watching male fireflies from another group, such as Fireflies, flash above the grass. She does not answer with the pattern of her own species. Instead, she gives a reply that resembles the female signal the male is searching for. To the flying male, the flash may look like a proper answer. It appears from the right height. It comes after a convincing delay. It may have the right brightness and rhythm. So he turns toward it. He flies lower. He approaches the leaf, stem, or blade of grass where the answering light appeared. But the signal was not a mate's reply. It was a lure. When he gets close enough, the Photuris female captures him and eats him. The scene is small and quiet, but it changes the meaning of the glow. The same kind of light that can guide one firefly toward courtship can guide another toward being caught. Nature often works this way. A signal evolves for one purpose, and then another creature learns to take advantage of it. A flower may use color to guide bees. A predator may learn where bees gather. A bird may use a call to keep contact with its group. Another animal may learn that call and use it to find them. In fireflies, the copied signal is made of light. It is not loud. It does not disturb the field. It appears as softly as any other flash. That is what makes it so effective. Photuris fireflies are sometimes larger than the Photinus fireflies they prey on. They are strong enough to overpower smaller males once they come close. But their advantage is not only size, it is also timing. A false flash given at the right moment can pull a male through the dark more effectively than chasing him ever could. The deception depends on the same rules that make normal firefly communication possible. The male expects a reply. He expects a delay. He expects a tiny light hidden in the grass. The Photuris female uses those expectations against him. This behavior also has another layer. Some fireflies contain defensive chemicals called luciferins. These are bitter, steroid-like compounds that can make fireflies unpleasant or harmful for predators to eat. Birds, spiders, and other hunters may learn to avoid insects that carry these chemicals. But not all fireflies make the same amount of these defenses on their own. Some Photuris females can gain luciferins by eating fireflies that already contain them. In other words, the meal may provide both food and protection. The copied flash brings prey close. The prey gives energy, and the chemicals inside that prey may help defend the Photuris female later. This turns the glow into something more complex than beauty. It is still soft to watch from a distance, still greenish yellow, still brief against the dark. But inside the meadow, that small flash may carry many possible meanings. It may be an invitation. It may be an answer. It may be a warning. It may be a trick. To human eyes, all these lights can look peaceful, and the scene itself can still feel peaceful. Warm air, still grass, a few slow blinks near the trees. Yet the insects are living inside a world of choice, risk, hunger, and recognition. The firefly's lantern is not only a decoration placed on the night, it is a tool. And like many tools in nature, it can be used in more than one way. A light can help two insects find each other. A light can help one insect fool another. A light can help a body defend itself without making a sound. The glow is still beautiful, but it is no longer simple. It belongs to survival, and survival is often more clever than it first appears. That cleverness does not end with deception. For many fireflies, light is also part of defense. A firefly may look small and soft, especially when it is resting on a leaf with its wings folded. But many species carry chemicals in their bodies that make them unpleasant or even dangerous for predators to eat. These chemicals are called luciferins. They are defensive compounds, meaning they help protect the insect from being eaten. Luciferins can taste bitter to predators, and in some animals, they can interfere with normal body functions if swallowed. A bird that tries to eat a firefly may learn from the experience and avoid similar insects later. A spider, frog, or other small hunter may also reject a firefly after tasting it. The firefly does not need armor like a turtle shell. It does not need a stinger like a wasp. Its protection can be carried quietly inside its own tissues. This is part of a larger pattern in nature. Many animals use bright colors to warn predators. A monarch butterfly has orange and black wings. A poison dart frog may be painted in blue, yellow, red, or green. A lady beetle often wears red or orange with dark spots. These colors can send a simple message. Do not eat me. I may not be worth the risk. Scientists call this kind of warning aposematism. The word means a warning signal that stands out. In daylight, that warning may be color. In darkness, color is harder to see. So a glowing animal can use light instead. For a firefly, the warning does not have to be painted across the body. It can shine. This is especially important because many fireflies are active at dusk or night, when the world is dim. A bright wing pattern would not be as useful in deep grass after sunset. But a small greenish glow can be seen against the dark soil, the underside of leaves, or the shadowed edge of a path. The firefly's light may tell a predator that this is not an easy meal. It may be bitter. It may be chemically defended. It may be better left alone. This helps explain why glow appears in more than just flying adults. Firefly larvae can glow too. These larvae often live close to the ground, moving through leaf litter, moss, loose soil, and damp wood. They do not drift through the air like adult males. They crawl. They hide. They hunt small, soft-bodied prey. Yet many of them still carry a faint light. Firefly larvae can glow too. These larvae are often called glowworms, even though they are not worms at all. They are young beetles. Their bodies are segmented, low, and practical, built for the hidden world beneath plants. A larva glowing from the ground may not be searching for a mate. It may be giving a warning. A small green light in the leaf litter can tell a night-hunting predator that this little body contains chemicals worth avoiding. In some firefly species, even eggs and pupae can glow faintly. The pupa is the quiet stage between larva and adult, when the insect is reshaping its body. It cannot fly away. It cannot run far. A warning glow may help protect it during that vulnerable time. The light, then, belongs to the whole life story of the firefly, not just the beautiful adult moment above the grass, not just courtship, not just flashing signals in warm air. The glow begins closer to the soil, where the young insect lives among roots, fallen leaves, fungi, tiny snails, and damp pieces of bark. This makes the firefly's light feel older and deeper than the summer display we notice first. Before the adult rises into the night, light has already been part of its life. It may have helped keep predators away. It may have marked the larva as defended. It may have allowed a soft-bodied beetle to survive in a world full of hungry mouths. The glow is still gentle to watch, but it is not fragile in the way it first seems. It is a signal with purpose, a quiet warning, a small shield made of light. And once that light is followed back to the young firefly, the story sinks down from the open air into the hidden places where fireflies spend much of their lives. Down in those hidden places, the firefly is much less like a floating lantern, and much more like a small creature of soil and shadow. Before many fireflies ever rise into the warm air as adults, they spend a long part of life close to the ground. They may live under fallen leaves, inside moss, along damp logs, in loose soil near roots, or in the soft edges of wetlands, stream banks, gardens, and forest floors. This young stage is called the larva. A larva is the growing form of an insect before it becomes an adult. It is not just a smaller version of the flying firefly. It has a different body, a different way of moving, and a different place in the world. Many firefly larvae are flat, dark, and segmented, with bodies that look more like tiny armored crawlers than delicate summer insects. Some have plates along the back. Some are brown or black, helping them blend into wet soil, bark, and rotting leaves. They move slowly compared with the quick blinking adults above the grass. They belong to the quiet layer of the night, where the ground is cool and the air smells of damp plants. This is where the name glowworm often appears. But glowworm can mean more than one thing. In many places, people use the word for glowing firefly larvae because the young insects crawl close to the ground and shine faintly like tiny living embers. In some firefly groups, glowworm can also refer to adult females that glow but do not have full wings. These females may stay low in the vegetation, shining from a stem, a stone, or a patch of moss. So the word glowworm is not always one exact animal. It is a common name for several kinds of soft glowing beetles, especially those that do not look like flying adult fireflies. The glow of a larva is usually not the same as the courtship flash of an adult male. It may be steadier. It may be dimmer. It may come from the body in a way that feels more like a warning than a message of attraction. In the leaf litter, a faint green light does not need to travel across a wide field. It only needs to be noticed nearby. A small predator moving through the soil may see or sense that glow and learn that this little animal is chemically protected. The light says something simple in the dark. This body is not harmless to eat. The larval stage can last much longer than the adult stage. In many species, firefly larvae may spend months feeding and growing before they become adults. Some may remain larvae for 1 or 2 years, depending on the species' climate, food supply, and season. In colder regions, growth can slow through winter. The larva may shelter beneath leaf litter or soil, waiting through cold months before becoming active again when moisture and warmth return. By comparison, the glowing adult stage can be brief. Often it lasts only a few weeks. That means the part humans notice most, the soft blinking over lawns and meadows, may be the shortest part of the firefly's life. The longer story is quieter. It happens under leaves, under logs, beside stones, in the damp places where small animals move through darkness without being seen. This hidden life also explains why fireflies depend so strongly on habitat. A tidy lawn with short grass and dry soil may have fewer places for larvae to live. A forest edge with leaf litter, moss, rotting wood, and moist ground offers more shelter. Those layers hold water. They protect small prey. They keep the soil cooler during hot days. They create the kind of nighttime world where young fireflies can grow slowly before the brief shining season arrives. So when an adult firefly rises from the grass, it carries more than one evening of light. It carries months of hidden feeding, resting, molting, and surviving. Molting means shedding the outer skin as the body grows. A larva may do this several times before it is ready to change into a pupa, the quiet stage before adulthood. Only after that long, low life does the familiar winged form appear. The summer flash is beautiful because it is brief, but it is also beautiful because it comes from so much unseen time. A few seconds of light above the grass may begin with a year beneath the leaves, and in that damp layer below the summer field, the young firefly is not simply waiting. It is moving through the dark with purpose, shaped not only to glow but to hunt. In the damp layer beneath the grass, the young firefly is not only glowing, it is hunting. Many firefly larvae are predators. They move through leaf litter, moss, loose soil, and the soft underside of rotting wood, searching for small animals that live in the same hidden world. Their prey often includes snails, slugs, earthworms, and other soft-bodied creatures. These animals are slow, moist, and common in the same places firefly larvae need to survive. A garden bed after rain, a forest floor under fallen oak leaves, a marshy edge where soil stays dark and wet, a shaded place beneath logs where the air remains cool even during the day. The adult firefly may look delicate as it blinks above the lawn, but the larva below is built for a more practical life. Its body is low and segmented. Its legs hold close to the ground. Its head carries mouthparts made for gripping prey. Some larvae use sharp, curved mouthparts to bite into snails or worms. In several firefly species, the larva can deliver digestive chemicals into its prey. These chemicals help slow or paralyze the animal and begin breaking down soft tissue before the larva feeds. It sounds surprising because the adult glow feels so gentle. But in the soil, survival is not decorative. It is patient and exact. A firefly larva may follow the mucus trail left by a slug or snail. That trail can act like a chemical path through the leaf litter. Snails and slugs leave moisture behind as they move, and for a small predator close to the ground, that trace can help lead toward food. A larva may approach slowly, using touch and chemical cues more than sight. The world under the leaves is not bright and open. It is crowded with roots, grains of soil, bits of bark, fungal threads, and broken stems. A creature living there needs to read the ground in small ways. The prey can be much larger than the larva itself. Some firefly larvae are able to attack snails by reaching into the shell opening, where the soft body is exposed. The shell may protect the snail from many dangers, but it does not make it safe from a predator built for that narrow entrance. After feeding, the larva may rest again in the moist cover, hidden from birds, heat, and drying air. Moisture is essential here. Snails and slugs need damp conditions. So do many firefly larvae. If the ground becomes too dry, the prey disappears or retreats, and the young fireflies lose both shelter and food. This is why a pile of fallen leaves can matter more than it looks. To a person, it may seem like yard waste. To a larva, it is shade, cover, hunting ground, and humidity held close to the soil. A neat, dry lawn gives very little of that. A softer edge, with leaves left under shrubs and plants growing at different heights, can hold a richer hidden life. The firefly story is often told from the air, because that is where humans notice it. A blink over the grass, a drifting male, a waiting female, a summer night with points of yellow-green light. But the larval stage shows a different firefly. Not a floating lantern, but a ground-dwelling predator. Not a brief sparkle, but a slow hunter living for months in darkness. Its glow may warn, its body may crawl, its mouth parts may grip, its senses may follow chemical traces that no human could see. This does not make the firefly less peaceful. It makes it more complete. The light above the grass depends on the life below it. The adult flash begins with a larva that found enough food, survived enough nights, molted enough times, and stayed alive in the damp places where small creatures move unseen. To understand the firefly, the eye has to move downward, past the blinking air, past the stems, past the leaf edges, into the cool, moist layer where the summer lantern is quietly built, one hidden meal and one slow change at a time. That quiet building place is not just any patch of ground. Fireflies need a certain kind of world around them. Not always untouched wilderness, not always a deep forest, but often a place with moisture, darkness, cover, and enough small life hidden near the soil. Many fireflies do well in damp meadows, marsh edges, stream banks, wooded paths, and gardens where fallen leaves are allowed to stay. These places may look ordinary during the day. A ditch beside tall grass, a shaded corner under shrubs, a low place where rainwater lingers after a storm, a border between lawn and trees where the soil stays cooler. But at night, those small spaces can become layered habitats. The soil holds moisture. The leaves slow evaporation. The plants create shade. The darkness allows light signals to stand out. And the humid air helps the whole system remain soft enough for fireflies and their prey. Moisture matters because the young firefly spends much of its life close to the ground. A larva moving through dry, exposed soil would lose water quickly. Like many small insects, it has a body that can dry out if the surrounding environment becomes too harsh. Damp leaf litter gives shelter. It buffers heat during the day. It keeps the air near the soil cooler and wetter than the air above open grass. It also gives the larva places to hide from birds, ants, spiders, and other hunters. The same moisture supports the animals firefly larvae often feed on. Snails and slugs need damp conditions because their soft bodies lose water easily. Earthworms also stay closer to the surface when soil is moist, especially after rain. In a dry yard, these prey animals retreat deeper, disappear, or die back. In a damp, leafy place, they continue moving through the hidden layer beneath plants. That means moisture supports the firefly twice. It protects the larva directly, and it supports the food that helps the larva grow. A healthy firefly habitat is not only a place where adults can flash. It is a place where eggs can be laid safely, where larvae can crawl for months, where pupae can rest in the soil, and where adults can rise later into dark air with enough cover to hide during the day. A firefly meadow is not just the glowing part people notice. It is roots, stems, leaf litter, wet soil, shadows, and insects all working together. Some fireflies are found near freshwater wetlands because those places hold steady humidity. Others appear along forest edges where trees keep the ground shaded and fallen leaves gather year after year. In gardens, fireflies may use areas under shrubs, native plants, tall grasses, or unmowed corners. A garden that looks a little less polished can sometimes hold more life. A thin layer of leaves under bushes can become a tiny shelter system. A rotting log can hold moisture like a sponge. Tall grass can keep the soil from heating too quickly in the afternoon. By evening, those small details shape whether the ground remains alive and usable. This is why a bright green lawn, trimmed short and cleared of leaves, may not offer much to fireflies. It may look clean to people, but to a larva, it can be exposed, dry and empty. There are fewer hiding places, fewer snails and slugs, less shade, less dampness held close to the surface. The adult firefly may fly over such a lawn for a few seconds, but the deeper life cycle needs more than open grass. It needs edges, layers, moist pockets, plant stems to climb, leaves to hide beneath, soil that has not been stripped bare. The glow above the ground depends on all of this quiet support below it. A flash in June or July may have begun with rain held in spring soil, with leaves left under trees the autumn before, with a snail moving through moss after a warm shower, with a larva surviving unseen through nights when no one was outside watching. The firefly's light feels weightless when it rises, but it is tied to the condition of the whole night around it. The air must be dark enough. The ground must be damp enough. The plants must offer enough cover. And when those conditions come together, the field can begin to answer with light. And when the field begins to answer with light, it is not only because the insects are ready. The night itself has become ready too. Fireflies are strongly shaped by season, temperature, moisture, and local weather. They do not appear in the same numbers every night. A cool evening may keep many of them hidden. A dry spell may quiet the ground where larvae and prey live. A warm, humid night after rain may bring more adults into the open air, where their flashes can be seen over grass and shrubs. Like all insects, fireflies are ectotherms. That means their body temperature depends largely on the temperature around them. They do not warm themselves from the inside the way birds and mammals do. When the air is too cool, their muscles work more slowly. Their flight may be weaker. Their flashes may become less frequent. Their whole evening rhythm can slow down. When the air is warm enough, the body works more easily. The wings beat. The nerves send signals. The lantern can pulse, and the firefly can join the quiet movement of the night, This is why fireflies often feel tied to early and midsummer. In many parts of eastern North America, common fireflies are most visible from late spring into July, though the exact timing changes with location and species. Farther south, activity may begin earlier. Farther north, it may arrive later and last for a shorter season. In some places, a warm May can bring the first flashes early. In others, the brightest displays wait until June, when the evenings have become softer and the soil has had time to warm. Humidity also matters. Humid air means the air contains more water vapor. To a person, this can make a summer night feel heavy or still. To a firefly, it can mean better conditions near the ground. Damp air helps keep leaf litter and soil from drying too quickly. It supports snails, slugs, worms, and other small animals that larvae may feed on. It also helps preserve the moist shelter where eggs and young fireflies develop. A firefly display above the grass is connected to water in ways that are easy to miss. Rain falling days or weeks earlier can help shape the life that appears later as light. Local weather can change the display from one evening to the next. A windy night may make it harder for small insects to fly or hold position. Heavy rain can keep adults sheltered under leaves. A bright moon may change how visible the flashes appear, though different species respond in different ways. A cloudy, warm, humid evening can sometimes make firefly light stand out strongly. Because the sky is dark, the air is calm, and the plants still hold the moisture of the day. This timing makes fireflies feel like part of a larger summer chorus. Frogs often call more strongly after rain, when ponds and ditches are full. Crickets sound more often in warm air, because temperature affects the speed of their body movements. Cicadas rise with heat and season. Fireflies belong to that same living calendar. They are not separate from the weather. They are one of the ways the weather becomes visible. A blink above the grass can tell you that the soil is damp enough, that the air is warm enough, that the season has reached a narrow window when adult fireflies are active and searching. The adult stage is brief, so timing matters. A male that emerges too early may find few females ready to answer. A female that answers on a cold or windy night may be harder to find. A warm run of evenings can bring many adults out at once, making the field seem to wake up with light. What looks like a sudden miracle is often the result of many conditions lining up. Temperature, moisture, darkness, season, shelter, and the hidden life that has been growing beneath the leaves. This is why fireflies can feel so tied to memory. They appear only when the world has arranged itself in a certain way. Not every night, not every field, not every summer with the same strength. Their light is seasonal, and that makes it precious. A few weeks of blinking after months of quiet development. A few warm hours after a long, bright day. A few living sparks moving over grass before the darkness closes again. And when enough fireflies emerge under the same conditions, the single flash no longer feels alone. One signal becomes many. Many signals begin to overlap. And in rare places, under very specific summer skies, the whole forest can seem to breathe in light. In rare places, the many separate lights begin to act as one. A single firefly flash is already precise. A male shines. A female waits. A reply appears from the grass. But in some forests, the rhythm grows beyond one pair of insects. Hundreds or thousands of fireflies begin flashing in patterns that line up across the dark. The lights brighten together. Then they vanish together. For a few seconds, the forest returns to black. Then the glow comes back again, spread through the trees like a soft pulse moving through the air. This is called synchrony. Synchrony simply means that many things are happening at the same time or in the same rhythm. In fireflies, it means many insects are timing their flashes together. Not perfectly forever, not like machines, but closely enough that the whole display feels coordinated. One of the most famous examples in North America is Photinus carolinus. This species lives in parts of the Appalachian region, including Great Smoky Mountains National Park in Tennessee and North Carolina. Each year, usually around late May or early June, people enter a lottery for a chance to see the display near Elkmont. The timing changes from year to year because the fireflies respond to temperature, rainfall, soil moisture, and seasonal conditions. When the display is strong, the forest can seem to breathe. The fireflies flash several times in a short burst. Then they go dark. A pause follows. Then the burst returns. To someone sitting quietly among the trees, the effect can feel like waves of light moving between trunks, shrubs, and low branches. The insects are not trying to perform for people. They are still using light to find mates. But because so many adults are active in the same place at the same time, their separate signals form a larger pattern. In Southeast Asia, synchronous fireflies can create a different kind of display. Species in the genus Pteroptyx often gather in mangrove trees along tidal rivers. Mangroves grow where fresh water and salt water meet, with roots that grip muddy shorelines. In places like Malaysia, Thailand, and parts of the Philippines, these fireflies may collect in large numbers on riverside trees. From a boat moving slowly through the dark, the trees can look as if they are strung with tiny lights. Whole branches flicker, then dim, then flicker again. The glow reflects on dark water below, so the river seems to hold a second, softer copy of the lights. The setting is different from the Smoky Mountains. Instead of cool Appalachian forest, there are warm tidal channels, muddy banks, mangrove leaves, and humid night air. But the central wonder is similar. Many small insects, each with its own lantern, somehow fall into a shared rhythm. The visual effect can be surprisingly calm because it is not constant. The darkness keeps returning. The light does not flood the forest or riverbank. It appears in pulses. The pause gives the eyes time to rest. Then the lights come back, not as a single bright flash, but as many tiny bodies shining almost together. A field of ordinary fireflies can look like scattered stars close to the ground. A synchronous display feels more like a living pattern, a quiet signal spreading through a group. The scale makes the firefly's small body feel even more remarkable. Each insect is only a tiny beetle with a lantern in its abdomen. Each one has nerves, oxygen tubes, light cells, and a body that must measure time in fractions of a second. Yet together, they create a pattern large enough for a whole hillside or riverbank to notice. No firefly is standing above the others. No leader is directing the flashes from a branch. There is no conductor hidden in the dark, only many insects watching, adjusting, and answering with light. The forest seems unified, but the unity comes from small decisions repeated again and again. One firefly sees nearby flashes. Its own rhythm shifts. Another firefly responds. The pattern spreads. The result is both simple and difficult to fully imagine. Tiny lanterns, each controlled by one insect body, becoming part of a larger pulse. And in that shared rhythm, the firefly's private signal becomes something wider, softer, and stranger than one glow alone could ever be. That wider pulse begins with something very small. One firefly sees another firefly flash nearby. Then it slightly adjusts its own timing. It may flash a little sooner, or a little later. Then another firefly responds to that new flash. Then another. Slowly, the rhythm begins to tighten. No single insect needs to understand the whole forest. Each one only has to respond to the lights close enough to see. This is what makes synchrony so fascinating. A large pattern can grow from small local reactions. The fireflies are not planning together. They are not counting in the way humans count. They are not following a leader at the top of a tree. Each insect is simply using its eyes, nerves, and lantern to stay close to the rhythm around it. Scientists often describe this as coupling. Coupling means that two or more rhythms influence each other. One rhythm changes slightly because another rhythm is nearby. In a firefly group, each blinking insect becomes part of a shared timing system. Its flash affects others. Their flashes affect it. The pattern passes back and forth through the darkness. A simple comparison is a room full of people clapping. At first, the claps may be scattered. Some hands meet early, some late. The sound feels uneven. But if people keep listening to one another, the clapping can gradually fall into a shared beat. No one has to announce the timing. The rhythm appears because each person adjusts to the others. Fireflies do something similar with light instead of sound. The signal is seen, not heard. The adjustment happens inside tiny insect bodies, not human hands. But the principle is close. Many small changes can create one larger rhythm. Another comparison comes from pendulums. A pendulum is a weight that swings back and forth like the moving arm of an old clock. In 1665, the Dutch scientist Christian Huygens noticed that two pendulum clocks hanging from the same support could slowly fall into matching swings. The motion from one clock traveled through the shared structure and influenced the other. Over time, their separate rhythms became linked. Fireflies are alive, of course, and far more complex than clocks. But the pendulum idea helps show how separate timers can become connected through repeated signals. For a synchronous firefly, the timer is inside the body. Nerve signals help control the lantern. The lantern flashes. The eyes detect nearby flashes. Then the timing shifts. Again and again, this loop repeats. The result can be a forest patch where hundreds of lights brighten close together, then vanish close together. In species like Photinus carolinus, the display often comes as short bursts of flashes followed by a dark pause. That pause is important. It resets the scene. It lets the next burst stand out clearly. If every insect glowed all the time, the pattern would disappear into a steady haze. synchrony depends on contrast. Light, dark, light again. The darkness is not empty. It is part of the system. It gives each flash a clean background. It allows one insect to see another insect's timing. It keeps the visual message sharp enough for small eyes to follow. This is why a synchronous display feels so ordered, even though it is built from many individual animals. Each firefly is close to the ground or moving among low plants. Each one has only a limited view. Branches, stems, leaves, and distance block parts of the scene. Yet the rhythm can still spread because each insect only needs nearby information. Like ripples crossing a pond, the timing passes through the group. A flash influences a neighbor. The neighbor influences another, and the forest begins to pulse. This kind of coordination appears in many parts of nature. Crickets can adjust their chirps near one another. Frogs may call in patterns around ponds after rain. Some fish turn together in schools because each fish responds to the movement of those beside it. In each case, large order can come from simple local rules. Fireflies make that order visible. They turn coordination into light. But the same need that makes synchrony beautiful also makes it fragile. The insects must be able to see the flashes clearly. The dark spaces must remain dark enough. If another glow fills the background, the tiny signals can become harder to read. A porch light, a road, a passing car, or a bright building can enter the conversation without belonging to it. And once the night itself becomes too bright, the shared rhythm has to compete with a world it did not evolve inside. And that brighter world can change the meaning of a firefly's flash. For a firefly, darkness is not just a background. It is part of the signal. The glow from the abdomen is small. It may be only a brief yellow-green pulse, lasting less than a second. It was shaped by nights where the strongest lights came from the moon, the stars, and sometimes the pale glow of the horizon after sunset. A firefly does not need to overpower a street. It only needs to stand out against leaves, soil, grass, and shadow. Artificial light changes that balance. A porch light beside a garden can brighten the plants where females may be waiting. A street light can wash over a roadside ditch where males would normally fly. Car headlights can sweep across a field in moving bands. Bright windows, parking lots, sports fields, and buildings can create steady light that fills spaces once held by darkness. To humans, these lights may seem ordinary. They help people walk safely, drive at night, unlock doors, and find their way. But for a firefly, they can become interference. The problem is not only that artificial light is bright, it is that it can hide the contrast fireflies depend on. A small flash is easier to notice when the background is dark. If the background is already glowing, the firefly's signal becomes less clear. A male may have more trouble seeing a female's answer from a low leaf. A female may have more trouble noticing the correct male pattern above the grass. The light language becomes harder to read. This is why light pollution can be compared to noise in a conversation. It does not make sound. It does not shout into the air, but it covers the signal in a similar way. Imagine trying to hear a soft voice beside a busy road. The voice is still there. The words are still being spoken, but the background makes them harder to understand. Artificial light can do that to fireflies without making any noise at all. It makes the night visually louder. Some kinds of light may be more disruptive than others. White and blue rich lights can brighten a wide area and scatter through the atmosphere more strongly than warmer, dimmer lights. A single unshielded bulb can spill light sideways and upward, instead of sending it only where it is needed. A yard light left on all night may turn a patch of shrubs or grass into a place where firefly signals no longer stand out. Even if the insects are still present, their communication can become less effective. The result may be fewer successful pairings, fewer eggs, fewer larvae, fewer lights in the seasons that follow. The change can be subtle. A person may not notice one missing flash. A neighborhood may still see a few fireflies along the darker edges. But over time, the brightest areas may become quieter. The lights may retreat toward woods, wetlands, meadows, and darker corners where the old conditions remain. This does not mean every human light is equally harmful. Small choices can matter. A shielded light points downward. A motion sensor keeps a lamp off until it is needed. A warmer bulb can reduce harsh glare. Curtains can keep indoor light from spilling into a garden. Turning off extra outdoor lights during firefly season can help the night become readable again. The goal is not total darkness everywhere. It is enough darkness in enough places for small lives to continue their signals. A firefly field needs the pause between flashes. It needs the soft spaces where light can appear and disappear. It needs the female's answer to remain visible from the grass. It needs the male's moving pulse to be seen from a leaf. When artificial light enters that space too strongly, it does more than change the mood of the night. It changes the conditions that let the firefly's life cycle continue. And once darkness begins to disappear, the loss does not stop with the glow itself. The same places that lose their night can also lose the damp edges, leaf litter, and shelter that fireflies quietly depend on. Those damp edges and darker corners can disappear very quietly. Not all at once. Not always in a dramatic way. A meadow becomes a parking lot. A wet ditch is drained. A forest edge is cleared. A garden is sprayed. A lawn is cut short every week, and the fallen leaves are removed before they can settle into the soil. To people, these changes may look like maintenance. To fireflies, they can remove the places where life begins. Fireflies need more than a summer evening. They need a full habitat. A habitat is the place where an animal can find food, shelter, water, and a chance to reproduce. For fireflies, that habitat often includes damp soil, leaf litter, tall grasses, shrubs, moss, rotting wood, and dark spaces where flashes can be seen. When those layers are taken away, the adult lights may fade later, because the younger stages had fewer places to survive. Wetlands are especially important for many firefly species. A wetland can be a marsh, swamp, bog, wet meadow, or stream edge where water stays near the surface for much of the year. These places hold moisture in the soil. They support snails, slugs, worms, and small insects. They provide cover for larvae that may live close to the ground for months or longer. When wetlands are drained or filled, the loss reaches far below the surface. The adult fireflies are not the only ones affected. Eggs lose safe places. larvae lose prey, pupae lose protected soil, and the summer display becomes weaker before anyone sees the missing lights. Pesticides can add another pressure. A pesticide is a chemical used to kill insects, weeds, fungi, or other organisms that people consider pests. Some pesticides may directly harm fireflies. Others may reduce the smaller creatures firefly larvae feed on. A yard treated to remove slugs, insects, or weeds may also remove part of the food web that supported young fireflies. Even if adult fireflies still fly through the air, the ground below may become less able to raise the next generation. The effect can be slow. One season may seem normal, then the next has fewer flashes. Then the dark spaces between lights grow wider. Overmanaged lawns can cause a quieter kind of loss. A short lawn dries faster than tall grass or leaf-covered soil. It gives fewer places for larvae to hide. It holds fewer soft-bodied prey animals. It often lacks the uneven edges that many small creatures use. A lawn that is beautiful to humans can be simple and empty to a firefly. By contrast, a yard with unmowed strips, native plants, damp corners, shrubs, and leaves left under trees may offer more shelter. It does not have to look wild everywhere. Even small patches can matter. A shaded strip beside a fence, a leaf layer under bushes, a rain garden where water slowly sinks into the ground, a quiet corner without bright lights. These can become small refuges. A refuge is a safer place where life can continue when surrounding areas become harder to use. Fireflies remind us that habitat is often made from ordinary things, not only grand forests or protected parks, but small, overlooked details. A rotting log, a patch of moss, a ditch with tall grass, a damp garden bed after rain, a place where the mower does not reach every week. The loss of fireflies can feel personal because their light is so easy to remember. Many people connect them with childhood evenings, jars with air holes, summer fields, or the edge of a backyard after sunset. But the deeper loss is ecological. A fewer number of fireflies can mean that the night has become brighter, drier, cleaner, shorter, and less layered than it once was. The glow is like a soft sign of conditions below it. When the sign fades, the ground may already have changed. The firefly's light depends on darkness, moisture, patience, and hidden shelter. It depends on a world that is allowed to keep some softness, some leaves, some shadows, some wet soil, some small creatures moving where people rarely look. And when those conditions remain, the firefly does more than decorate the night. It tells us that a little part of the land is still breathing quietly beneath the grass. And maybe this is why people remember fireflies so clearly. They are not only insects, they are moments. A firefly appears under conditions that do not last very long. The season has to be right. The air often has to be warm. The ground has to hold enough moisture. The sky has to grow dark enough for the signal to stand out. Then, for a short part of the year, tiny living lights begin to appear over grass and along the edges of trees. That temporary quality gives fireflies much of their emotional power. They are not like the sun rising every morning. They are not like a porch light that can be switched on whenever someone wants it. They arrive in a narrow window, often for only a few weeks, and then fade back into the hidden parts of the year. For many people, fireflies are tied to childhood because childhood is full of close looking. A child notices a blinking light in the yard and follows it. A jar may be prepared with small air holes. Hands move carefully through the grass. A firefly lands on a finger, and its abdomen glows softly through the evening. The insect may only be held for a few moments before it is released again, but the memory can last for decades. Part of that memory comes from the way human vision responds to light. Our eyes are very sensitive to contrast. A small moving point of light against a dark background quickly catches attention. This is why people notice stars in a black sky, sparks above a campfire, or a candle flame in a dark room. The firefly uses this same visual truth. Its glow is small, but the darkness makes it clear. The movement makes it feel alive. And because the light turns on and off, the eye keeps returning to it. A steady glow might fade into the background. A flash keeps inviting attention. There is also something unusual about seeing darkness become beautiful without being removed. Most human lights push darkness away. A lamp fills a room. A street light covers a sidewalk. A car headlight cuts a path through the road. But a firefly does not erase the night. It appears inside it. The grass stays dark. The trees stay dark. The open space between flashes stays dark. The beauty comes from the small light and the darkness holding each other in balance. That makes the experience feel gentle. Nothing is forced open. Nothing is overwhelmed. A tiny beetle simply shines, then disappears, then shines again. Fireflies also feel powerful because their light is alive. A star is distant. A bulb is built. A flame is burning fuel. But a firefly is a creature making light inside its own body. It has legs, wings, antennae, nerves, breathing tubes, and a life cycle that began in damp soil. The glow is not separate from the animal. It is part of hunger, defense, courtship, timing, and survival. When that is understood, the flash becomes richer. It is still soft, still peaceful, still easy to watch. But it is no longer just decoration. It is a living signal, carried by a beetle that may have spent months hidden beneath leaves before rising into the summer air. That may be why fireflies feel both ordinary and rare. They can appear in a backyard, beside a ditch, near a park trail, or at the edge of a field. They do not require a mountain summit or a telescope. Yet they still make the familiar world feel strange. A patch of grass becomes a place of chemistry. A row of shrubs becomes a place of courtship. A damp corner of soil becomes the beginning of a lantern. The firefly gives the night a visible pulse. It reminds us that small lives are moving everywhere, even when the world seems still. And after following the glow through chemistry, signals, larvae, moisture, and darkness, the first simple blink in the grass returns with more meaning. One little light now carries a whole hidden story inside it. The first time a firefly flashes, it may seem like the simplest thing in the world. A dot of yellow-green in the grass. A blink near a shrub. A small glow moving between the trees. But that flash is not simple at all. It is chemistry, because luciferin and luciferase are working inside the lantern cells, It is breathing, because oxygen must reach the light organ through tiny tubes in the insect's body. It is energy, because ATP, the small energy packet used by living cells, helps prepare the reaction. It is timing, because the glow turns on and off in short pulses, instead of shining all night. It is communication, because the flash may be sent by a male flying low over the grass. It is recognition, because a female may answer only after the right delay. It is courtship, because the exchange can bring two fireflies together in the dark. It is warning, because the same glow can tell predators that a larva or adult may be bitter or defended. It is mimicry, because some Photuris fireflies can copy the flash patterns of other species and turn trust into a trap. And it is habitat, because none of this works without damp soil, leaf litter, plants, darkness, and enough hidden life below the grass. A firefly flash is like a message folded into a single pulse. To human eyes, it may only say, "There is a light." To another firefly, it can say much more. It can show where the insect is. It can reveal whether the signal is coming from above the grass or from a low leaf. It can carry the pattern of one species instead of another. It can show whether the sender is moving or waiting. It can appear at the right time of night, in the right season, under the right conditions. A flash is not a sentence, but it can hold meaning. It is a small signal shaped by the body that sends it and the body that receives it. The color matters. Many fireflies shine in yellow, green, or yellow-green. The timing matters. Some flashes last less than a second. The pause matters. A female's delayed answer may help a male know that he has found the right kind of partner. The darkness matters too. Without darkness, the flash loses its clear edge. Without moisture, the hidden larvae and their prey may struggle. Without leaf litter, soil, and quiet shelter, the future adults may never rise. This is what the firefly teaches about light. Light is not always there to reveal a whole landscape. Sometimes it is there to reveal one exact thing. One body, one signal, one place in the grass. A candle lights a room. A flashlight lights a path. A firefly lights a moment. It gives just enough brightness to be found, then returns the night to itself. That restraint is part of its beauty. The glow is small because it does not need to be large. It is brief because the pause helps give it shape. It is soft because the body that makes it is soft. And it is alive because every flash depends on cells still doing their quiet work. The glow is easy to see. The cause is much harder to hold all at once. A beetle grew from an egg in damp ground. A larva hunted through leaf litter. A pupa rested while its body changed. An adult emerged with wings, eyes, antennae, and a lantern under its abdomen. Inside that lantern, molecules shifted. Oxygen arrived. Energy moved. Light appeared. Then the insect used that light in a world of signals, danger, attraction, and darkness. So when the flash returns in the grass, it no longer feels like a simple sparkle. It feels like the visible tip of a long, quiet process. A process that began below the leaves and rose into the summer air. The field is still the same field. The night is still the same night. But the small glow now carries more weight. It is not only pretty, it is precise. It is not only gentle, it is useful. It is not only light, it is life, briefly showing itself in the dark. And now the glow can return to where it began. A quiet field, a garden edge, a line of trees at the back of a yard. The air is warm, but not harsh. The grass holds a little moisture from rain, dew, or the slow cooling of evening. Leaves rest under shrubs. Soil stays dark beneath them. Somewhere low to the ground, a small beetle begins to shine. That is what a firefly is. Not a fly, but a beetle in the family Lampyridae. A soft-bodied insect with 6 legs, antennae, wing covers, and a life cycle that moves from egg to larva, pupa, and adult. The adult glow is the part people remember, but it is only one part of a longer story. Before the flash above the grass, there may have been months beneath the leaves. A larva moving through damp soil. A small hunter following snails, slugs, worms, and other soft-bodied prey. A faint warning glow hidden close to moss and roots. Then a quiet transformation. Then wings. Then the short bright season when the adult rises into the night. The light itself comes from chemistry. Inside the lantern, usually in the lower abdomen, luciferin and luciferase work with oxygen and cellular energy. Luciferin is the light-making molecule. Luciferase is the enzyme that helps the reaction happen. Oxygen arrives through tiny breathing tubes. Energy moves through the cell. For a brief moment, a molecule holds extra energy, then releases it as visible light. That is why the glow can appear without flame, without smoke, without a hot wire, without burning the insect from within. It is cold light, or nearly so. A soft chemical shine that wastes very little energy as heat. Then the body gives that light timing. The lantern turns on, then off, then on again. A male may move above the grass, sending his pattern into the dark. A female may wait on a leaf or stem and answer after the right delay. In some species, that delay may last only a few seconds, but it can carry meaning. The flash can show species, location, movement, readiness, recognition. A field of fireflies is not random once the pattern is understood. It is a quiet exchange, written in pulses. But the glow has never belonged to only one purpose. It can invite, it can warn, it can deceive. Some Futurist fireflies copy the signals of other species and lure males close. Some larvae glow as a warning to predators because many fireflies carry bitter defensive chemicals. A single light can be courtship, protection, mimicry, and survival all at once. And all of it depends on the world around the insect. Fireflies need more than darkness for beauty. They need darkness for communication. They need damp soil for eggs and larvae. They need leaf litter, moss, tall grass, shrubs, stream edges, wet meadows, or shaded garden corners. They need the small hidden animals that live in those places. When the land becomes too bright, too dry, too bare, or too carefully cleared, the glow can fade before the adult firefly ever reaches the air. So the last flicker in the field is not just a pretty summer detail. It is a sign that many quiet things are still working together. The soil holding moisture, the leaves keeping shade, the plants giving shelter, the darkness making signals visible, the beetle carrying ancient chemistry in its body. A small light appears near the grass, then another answers. A few more blink near the trees. Each flash is brief, but none of them are empty. They hold the long hidden life of the larva, the precise work of molecules, the patience of timing, the need for darkness, the softness of a habitat left whole enough to shine. And as the night deepens, the field does not need to explain itself anymore. The lights appear. They pause. They appear again. Then slowly, one by one, they fade back into the dark. What remains is the quiet understanding that even the smallest light can carry an entire hidden world.